Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Reality Game Forum podcast for Survivor. Uh, I am Patrick. Colin's out tonight. Joining me tonight is the majestic Elise.
Hello.
The wonderful Jack.
Hey there.
The Latina flavor, Alicia Garza.
Hola.
The beautiful Stephen Lehman.
Oh, thank you, Patrick. I'm glad that you said I was beautiful. That means a lot. Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome. And the
person I've now forgotten because of
no,
lovely
I'm
speech.
trying to think of
Hi.
a good adjective. Whatever. And Prince Ty.
He flies high like an eagle.
It would appear that Patrick has had a very good evening.
It's true. I'm glad.
Don't worry, Colin. We're not fucking it up.
All right, yeah, Colin, we're doing you proud.
Sure.
So, anyways, let's start. What did y'all think of the episode overall? Elise.
I thought it was good, but it had me guessing to the very end. I'm just sad at how it ended.
That's exactly what I said. Does anyone else?
That's sort of my exact train of thought.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, it was tragic.
Tragic.
I mean, it was terrible. At the same time,
Could have been more tragic.
but it could have been Jen, and that would have been much, much worse. Because
Or Joe, who I was referring
Joe.
to.
Yeah,
I love Joe.
Yeah, Joe doesn't have boobs. I'm sorry.
Not much.
He's got some little man titties, but I mean pecs, but you know.
Pectoral, I believe is the term.
Yeah.
My thought process is this, though. If they're just going to keep, donkey punching us, then this is going to be a terrible rest of the season. I have to feel that this was setting up for something.
I thought it was too.
Yeah.
They were just giving us hope, right? And then
They have to get their comeuppance at some point before the end.
Yeah.
It can't just be that they all make it to the final episode and then Mike beats them. That's not a comeuppance, and people will shit on that. Or, hopefully.
I just think the overall episode just kept giving you hope on things, and you're just hoping and praying, and then it's just like you get kicked in the nuts in the end.
I mean, it kept you interested, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing. It sucks that it happened, and it was so close. From what we saw, to Dan, who nobody likes, getting kicked off. But at the same time, I'm happy it kept the episode interesting because it could have been a really obvious, it was an obvious boot for Jen or Haley to go at the minute Joe won immunity.
Right.
So, it kept us guessing, which I can appreciate.
Well, let's go back to the reward challenge, which was something that I took 2 seconds, looked at, and said, "Oh, Joe's got this." And he did win, and he made some interesting picks on. I thought it was the smart choice. Ty, what do you think on who to bring with him on the reward?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily. It was the obvious choice because Blue Collar wants him dead, and the girls were going to stick with him no matter what. So, I mean, it wasn't like a revolutionary thing. It's not like he's a genius for doing it. But yes, he made the correct move there. He took all the swings. He tried to solidify Will. He tried to, and almost, who knows what would have happened with Tyler and Joe if Mike had not found them. Who the fuck knows? God only knows.
He made Shireen the happiest girl in the world.
Absolutely.
Aww.
Shireen will ride or die for Joe now.
Yes.
Before Haley got voted out tonight, I think the comment that I made was that was the smartest move he made, was taking her, because while I still felt that the girls were probably more loyal to each other ultimately than they were to Joe, Shireen will not turn on Joe. I'm pretty certain that won't happen now. I mean, granted, if Joe doesn't win the immunity, he could die at any point. There's nothing she could do to save him, from the looks of it, but she's in love. She's smitten, I would imagine.
I don't blame her.
However,
She will drop her pants in front of him.
do we think it was a good call to bring Shireen if if the objective of that was to try and talk strategy with those people that he was trying to rein in? Because how is he supposed to sit there and have a pleasant conversation and some real, strategic anything with Shireen there, existing and like saying nonsensical things and rubbing everyone the wrong way. Like how I just don't feel like that part of it was good for his game.
Who do you think he
Who
should have
else was
picked
supposed
as opposed to
I mean, I
Shireen?
don't know. Ideally, it would have been no more picks, and he wouldn't have had to pick Shireen at all. But
Yeah.
I just wasn't sure about that last pick. Obviously, he wasn't sure about that last pick because he like was very reluctant. But I don't know. Did anyone else think that, or am I the only one?
Well, I think maybe the move would have been, like, there's no way he could have known he was taking an extra person, but maybe to drop Carolyn and hope that Tyler and Carolyn stick together and he can convince Tyler or something like that and bring, like, Sierra or something. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Now they didn't really show us any strategy talk.
Yeah.
So maybe it was just for the good graces and trying to help, which in Survivor.
But maybe they didn't show it
can't do
because
that,
it was impossible with Shireen's existence.
But we did see the immunity clue. I guess it was in the bottle.
Yeah, it was in the bottle of soda.
Yeah, it was in the soda.
It was.
Which I guess Carolyn doesn't really look at what she's drinking. I don't know.
Yeah,
That was pretty damn slick, though. I want some more soda.
Was.
Looking at Carolyn and getting the bottle and almost choking on the clue. That was that was pretty.
I was a little surprised that completely snuck under Carolyn's nose. I mean, maybe she just wasn't that concerned because she already has an idol. But I mean, I had her pretty high on the contenders list at this point, and I kind of have her lower now because she literally just gave away the fucking idol clue because she was a little thirsty, and that's alarming.
It was kind of obvious in the bottle, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah.
Yeah. Was it? And
I
did
think
she
the more question.
look at the bottle again as she was either drinking it or putting it down?
Yeah.
I think the more
It seemed like at some
questionable.
point she was examining it.
I think the more questionable move, though, is more Tyler telling Mike.
Yeah,
We'll get
Oh
to that.
yeah, I mean that was
Because
Yeah,
Joe,
that's
he was Tyler saw him, so he knew he had to fess up to that.
Yeah.
And I thought, that was the right move to make. Does anyone else disagree?
I think he could have been way more general with what it said. He could have even, I don't know, made up something completely different that didn't give him a clue.
Absolutely.
I think so, but I
That
think also
part was just stupid.
I just don't
Was
think
it-
he solidified anything with Tyler. At least it didn't show it.
yeah.
No.
To get him, maybe on his side or anything. He just shared the clue. It's like, okay, here you go, buddy. And then left him to go run to Mike, which is, that was questionable. Elise, you were talking about that?
Yeah, well, the way I see it is Tyler had the clue. Only him and Joe knew it. Like, there's only two people, and then you're gonna tell Mike. And for all he knows, like, I'm surprised Mike didn't run to everyone. Mike did the smart thing, like, somehow in this episode. But, yeah, I just don't think that's the move. Like, you can tell Mike, oh, yeah, Joe has the clue, but you don't have to tell him the clue or anything, because Mike still needs Tyler. Like, Tyler doesn't need Mike at this point.
Anyone have
I don't
anything to add?
Well said by everybody.
Yeah, I think that sums it up well.
Then it became more of like a idol chase or idol watch where they have to watch someone, which I love. Everyone's scrambling around looking for someone and they're looking for an idol. Kind of reminds me of in Kage-an when Wu found the clue and they were all out. Just obvious. It's
Oh my
just-
Sonic the Hedgehog style.
Yeah. This one was more just, watching Joe or whatever. And Mike then goes and claims that Joe had the idol.
Yeah.
What are
Yeah,
your...
that was a pretty good play on his part.
Yeah, I thought that was a smart
Yeah.
move because you're not only are you throwing that fear out there, but it puts pressure on Joe to find it. It gives you the opportunity to find it yourself since you know he doesn't have it. So I think it was a good play all around for Mike.
Again, does anyone think that Joe just gave up too easily? He seems to be doing
Joe,
a lot.
absolutely. When I was watching the episode, my immediate thought was that when everybody thought Joe had it, what Joe should have done is he should have sent Jen and Haley and said, "This is what the clue says. Everybody thinks I already fucking have it, so Idol Watch is off now. Go fucking find the thing."
That
would
was
have been
true.
the thing to do.
He could
Yeah.
And
have.
they would have had the idol, and then Mike wouldn't have the idol. And then the winner of the season wouldn't be a guy who ate a fucking scorpion. Because apparently we need somebody stupider than Fabio who wins the fucking season. Jesus fucking Christ.
I mean, Joe could have even tried to defend himself and been like, look, and stripped down naked and said, I don't have it anywhere. Check my pockets,
Yeah.
I actually don't think it's that bad of a move for Joe to claim he has it, because if he doesn't win immunity, then he can always be like, well, I'm just gonna play the idol on myself tonight and try and deflect off votes for 1
Yeah,
week.
but then
Like,
they would just want to flush the idol.
That's true, and they try to
True.
split it.
Matter. They would just split it some way.
Because at this point, the numbers are 7 to 3, I believe. So,
I don't think there's a whole lot he could have done to convince that group that he didn't have the idol anyways.
I think Ty had the smart idea of telling, the girls.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's what
that
you
would
should
have been the
done, 'cause
move
nobody
there.
thought they were going to look.
But it just seems that Joe gives up too quickly. I mean, he could have emptied his pockets, said, you
Well,
saw me come
To be
from...
fair, Joe is a lazy hippie. I mean, that's why.
Yeah,
That's true. That's the no collar in him.
Absolutely.
I guess that's what defines no collar is.
Yeah. Well, he told me I have the idol. I must have it.
But yeah, I thought the move was brilliant and gave Mike time to go and actually look for the idol.
Yeah.
And no one knows
I
he
wish you
has it,
fucking
which is the
tried.
best case scenario.
yeah, you keep it hush until...
Yeah, is anyone excited that Mike has an idol?
No.
No.
Not really, no.
I mean, there could be worse people that
I'm
have
more
it, but I'm not
excited
like...
that he has it than like Rodney, and Dan, but that's I think pretty much it.
See, I'd rather have Rodney have it because Rodney would get himself killed for having it.
Yeah, I don't think Rodney would use it in the right way. This season,
Exactly. That's my point. Rodney would just be like, "Hey, I have the idol. You shut the fuck up." And then
and thinks he's untouchable.
7-3, baby. I got the idol. Got the idol.
Top 7!
Woohoo! By the way, we're going to turn on the blue collars at 7. Woohoo!
I'm Tom Brady!
Oh God. Yeah, I wanted to talk about this season in general and the social games of most of these players, particularly what happened tonight with Dan.
Yeah.
This game, no one seems to have any ounce of social game. Rodney, I see some flares of strategy here and there, but then he goes and ruins it with his big mouth. Who do you guys think is playing the best social game?
Mike,
I'd probably say
maybe?
It's either Mike or one of Carolyn and Tyler.
Yeah,
it's
that's
Tyler.
And Tyler.
I'd say Tyler over Carolyn only because Shireen had made a comment in her confessional that she didn't like that Carolyn was on reward with her because they just don't necessarily get along. So I'd give the edge to Tyler over her.
Yeah, that's fair.
Except Tyler didn't know what. I mean, somebody with a great social game knows better than to just piss himself and tell Mike everything.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the...
Mike
really
knew.
Game and social game.
The answer is none of them, honestly. That's
It's
kind
I
of
mean,
bad.
yeah, that's exactly what the answer
Um,
is.
They're all terrible.
On the flip side, who has the worst social game?
Dan. Shireen says Dan has a bad social game, so...
Yeah, but I would honestly say Rodney is worse.
Rodney's pretty bad.
I would say Shireen is worse.
Shireen's pretty bad.
I mean, to be fair, Shireen at least has Jen and Joe in her corner. Dan has people tolerating him.
But do you
Maybe.
think that they actually like Shireen? Because it doesn't seem like it.
I think Jen and Joe do at the very least. I don't think they're...
Joe does, because otherwise he wouldn't have been as reluctant to pick her.
Alicia, you hate Shireen and you're projecting right now.
I am not. I don't think he enjoys her. I have not heard a single positive word about her spoken. Which
and you've
obviously
heard
a lot of
positive
those
words
editing.
spoken about Dan and Rodney.
I mean,
we've had it...
like Joaquin.
But that's not a particularly reliable source, unfortunately.
Okay, so
Well,
I guess
the
you did
person
hear
with
good things
Bill
about
is
Shireen
Jet
from
Black
Max.
Slick back. Yes, I mean it's no. Shireen
I
is
mean,
not
Mac-
Dan.
Yeah, I was going to say, Max...
I'm pretty sure Shireen didn't pretty much say that women should be beaten and women should be held to a higher standard
Than men.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a good social game.
But
Right,
But
but a person with any social game doesn't say those terrible
I was going
things.
to say, when Rodney says that on a tribe of 3 women to them, I think women should... you just kind of wonder what goes through his thought process, I guess.
No filter.
Hashtag
no
no
filter.
She just has annoying tendencies.
Like, don't
Yeah.
worry, I'm not misogynistic. I have a mother. It's like,
Yeah, it's like the I'm not racist. I have a black friend thing. It's like I'm not a misogynist. I love my mom. Like
I love my help.
But yeah, tonight it was actually kind of uncomfortable with Dan and Shanini in their conversation.
Shanane.
I think you referred to her as Shanini, saying just someone needs to slap this woman.
I was going to order a turkey Swiss Shanini earlier. Ended up getting soup and salad.
But yeah, I thought Dan was pretty disgusting.
Like why do
He
you
literally
say
looked
that?
like a troll. He just kind of looked like a
Oh, I'm serious.
from under the
And
bridge.
his fucking hat is ruining my life.
That's interesting.
it's like, there are so many super fans. Did you have to cast this one?
Yeah,
Both
and
super fan.
I do like how
I feel like
Dan
he's the
specific.
very definition of an oaf.
I think one of my favorite parts about Dan's little bit with Shireen was that he said do basic math, and he seems to neglect the idea that he's subtracting jury votes in the process. So his math abilities are not necessarily the
to win.
So he was saying, Shireen, you've got no plan. You're easy pickings, and went to school her on Survivor, and she just stayed pretty quiet. But what is her plan?
I think she talked about it, how she's put herself in a position, or not put herself, she's found herself in a position where she's not a threat. And she talked about how, like, hopefully I can buy her for a few more days. So I guess her plan is just to, like, stick around being a non-threat, but that doesn't win you the game, it just gets you into, like, the 7th place.
Well, out of, like, everyone on that no-color group, it's, like, no-color plus her. She's probably going to be the last one targeted out of that group, which could put her in a swing vote position. Like, she's not threatening at all. Of course,
how many left at this point?
10.
Okay. I see. This might go into a precursor of what we think of everybody, and their chances left at this point. I think one more goes. Either Joe or Jen goes. I don't think Jen quits. I think that whole thing in the preview was over. Was kind of like a woo falls out of the tree moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she quits because she wouldn't
She's
have
not going to
gotten.
pull a Janelle.
Yeah, she would not have gotten the edit she got to this point if she was just going to lay down and die. So she's going to be upset. Boo-hoo, my friend is gone, and then probably tell Rodney to go jump in a fire or something or other, and we will all clap. At least I will. But one of those two goes, and at that point, I would think if the 3 people don't want to be beholden to Rodney being a sane, doing something that he says he's going to do at Final 7, I feel like that's the time that the blue collars will get taken apart. And to that end, I do think that Shireen will outlast Dan. I feel like that's what tonight
I hope so.
precursed. I don't love Shireen. I think she's okay. She's not playing well, but I do think there's no way that she can lose to Dan now after what they showed. Because otherwise, being a misogynistic asshole would. He has to lose to her. He has to lose to her.
Well, there was some girl power tonight going on that showed
No,
some
there
promise.
there was no girl power going on tonight.
Well, it showed some promise of girl power going on. I'm talking about on the beach with what was it, Sierra, talking about voting with them, and they just needed one more. And the edit just really wanted us to see Dan go, but did Sarah and Tyler make the right move? Voting on
Tyler did.
Yeah, I think so. Sadly.
I think Sierra did too, because by proxy, I think in theory, if she makes it to the end with Rodney and Dan, I mean, she's not losing either. So.
But are they really going to take her there because they haven't treated her with respect?
Dan might.
Yeah, Dan might, because knowing him, he'd think he could beat her.
Yeah.
Because she is woman, she does not know place.
The problem is that she'd also probably be there with Mike in that case, and Mike would sweep them both.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think it's too early for her to make a move at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
I think she's sitting pretty,
against the super likable no collar, with the super likable no collars especially.
And
I don't
Shireen.
think she. Yeah.
I don't see Shireen winning very many jury votes if she were to get there, but
Shireen's
I
not
mean,
gonna.
if she pulls a Kathy Maverick, not that she would, but like if that was one of the biggest heel turns ever, I mean, you never know.
Ty, do you have a list of power rankings?
Not really, because Edric is dead, and who the fuck knows what's happening now.
Do you
Yeah,
want to
they're
go
throwing us
through?
like 80 curveballs an episode.
Do you want to go through and start at the bottom, and then we'll talk about how each person could
Sure.
improve?
That would help.
Yeah.
Essentially, well, Dan has to be at the bottom now.
Yeah.
Because if he wins Survivor, then we're fucked. We're all fucked. America is fucked if Dan wins Survivor. So
that would be fitting though if he won on a merged tribe named America.
I love that.
Terrible. I mean, don't get me wrong. He might be. I mean, well, here's my question, I guess, and I can't believe I didn't think about this before. But is the NFL sponsoring Survivor this season? Because if it is, then Dan will win because he wants to be in it. But
oh damn!
Otherwise, there's no chance that he's winning, and there's really nothing else to say. I would put Shireen at number 9 to the degree that she's also been shown to not be all that likable, and she's not. You know, she is admittedly a tag along on the wrong side. So to that end, while I do think that she'll get past some certain people, I don't think she's been set up to win.
Anyone here? How can Shireen turn it around? What can she do?
She gets to the end with Dan and Rodney, which is why I don't think she can win. I do think she could beat Dan and Rodney because I think anybody can beat Dan and Rodney. I'm pretty sure. I'd vote for Cass over Dan and Rodney at this point.
Wow, that is a bold statement.
That is.
So do we think Dan, Rodney, and Shireen would be like the worst possible combination of Final 3 ever to be able to be possible?
That just strikes my eyes. I would.
In terms of, I'd say in terms of unlikability, probably. And yeah, it would.
Even though I don't mind Shireen, yeah.
Oh no, I like Shireen. I think it'd be a rough Final 3 if they were the Final 3, though.
Oh god.
I'd like to think that since Jeff Probst is such a fan of this season, that is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I think he's actually quite fond of Shireen, so to that end, that might...
Yeah, but he wouldn't be fond of Dan. Or probably Rodney, so...
He would value Rodney as a character, because Rodney
I was going to say.
What he wants.
I think Rodney has secured his spot in another future season.
I think
he is like a 2-bit version of Tony.
Yeah.
I think if they're pining for semi-douchey Bostonian and they really, really are pressed for people, he'll get the spot.
But I think he's a dime a dozen. I think his character type is very easily found.
What he's going for is that he's in the most recent season. Like, that's...
I mean, realistically, we had a better version of Rodney and Drew Christie. I mean...
I love Drew Christie.
Like we had half of the episodes that we've had Rodney and that we had of Drew. I mean, I would give me Drew any day of the week over Rodney.
All right, now we're getting off track a little bit. We can talk about Drew Christie all day long. I know.
All right. So we've got Dan at number 10, Shireen at number 9.
I guess Rodney.
My number 8. No, actually, no. Rodney is not my number 8 because Alicia is visible, so there's like a minute chance that it could be him. My number 8 is actually Will.
Yeah.
Because he is completely and utterly fucking Will. Exactly.
I know.
Precisely my point. Thank you. Because
guys, it's the long con. He's gonna
for a sensational YouTube sensation, he could end. Beyond that, a large black man. He is literally fucking invisible. I cannot see him. I mean,
I don't think he spoke tonight.
No, he didn't.
He did. He talked with Rodney at the very beginning of the episode.
Oh, okay, I missed that. So
and they were talking about getting everyone else from No Collar out and then running a show or something like that. He did.
Well, I don't know if that bodes well for him, but
no, it doesn't. Which is why, again, he's at number 8. He's barely visible. I couldn't even see him. I don't know. Did he actually speak back to Rodney, or did Rodney just speak admin.
Oh, he was
Okay, no,
mad.
I'm
He was
legitimately-
the only person to vote Haley.
Okay, that's right. Okay, he did say one thing. Fantastic. Hey, at least this time he got it right. Good job, Will. Number 7 would then be Rodney. Because, he's been visible and toting one, so, nothing can be written the fuck off at this point. Number 6 would be Sierra. To the degree that she's not been very visible, I also feel that she would be a pretty surprise winner at this point, particularly after they made her a little bit visible tonight just to kill our hopes and dreams.
No, I think Sierra could actually be more of like maybe a Natalie White type winner if she's up against the right people.
I think that to the degree that she's up against a callous asshole, yes, but I don't necessarily know if Sierra has the social grace that Natalie does. So
she's not going to get there.
It's not even that. It's the people that she could win against are people like Dan, Rodney, and Shireen, and those are people that she all hates, and she's an emotional player, so she's not going to be like, hey, I have a good chance to go with Dan and Rodney, because she just hates them and is not going to just choose to go to the end of those.
Well, she chose to go back with them after being...
Yeah, I think she's...
Her problem is this.
Choosing what she thinks is best for herself.
Yeah. Her problem is this. For her to win, she needs 2 unlikable people. And all of the unlikable pieces that I just mentioned don't really like each other. Shireen doesn't like the other 2. Dan doesn't really like Rodney. None of them are cohesive, and I can't see any of them sticking together where 2 of those 3 people end up with Sierra, which is what I think, based on the edit right now, which again is meaningless. But
now, if we go to the first Blood vs. Water, I'm thinking back to another Sierra, who she didn't really have an edit until pretty far post-merge, and she actually became somewhat of a contender if she could have made it to that final.
Well, she also, agreed to not... She just agreed to vote out her mother and not flip on people at 8, but...
But
her edit definitely grew.
Yeah, it definitely picked up.
So...
my number 5 contender at this point is Joe, because everyone else sucks at the challenges, apparently, so he might just win all of them.
If he
does win all of them, he will win. Which actually should probably make me put him at 4 and Jen at 5. Yeah, they're pretty much,
any thoughts on
Joe? One of those 2 would be the spoiler at this point, but neither of them are particularly likely. Carolyn... Actually, I have Tyler at number 3 tonight because while Carolyn was less visible this episode, Carolyn was also not shown, being a little bitch to Papa Mike, whereas Tyler was. Tyler was
about to be like, oh man, I'm going to keep all my options open and do all this and do all that. And immediately after he gets caught, he just kind of caves and tells his daddy what happened and where the idol is. And his daddy then went and got the idol. And then Shireen, of all people, was able to say, oh yeah, by the way, they're going to find you threatening soon enough. And he just kind of shrugged and didn't give a shit. Now, granted, he still has time, but based on what we did see of him tonight, I don't feel like it was overly that strong for him. And then Carolyn would be number 2 by default because, let's put it this way, if somehow that final 7 happens, and it's the blue collars and Will and her and Tyler, I could easily see it being her. But, Rodney's not going to win if he goes with those fucking people. So it would be her. But tonight pretty much tells me I think it's got to be Mike that's the number 1 contender because he has the idol and the only one who's actively trying to take him out instead of why anyone would target Dan and not Mike when Mike is the more confident player doesn't make any fucking sense at all. People hate Dan. And the fact that only Rodney is being shown looking to get rid of Mike, and the fact that he's being shown being emotional and happy and God-fearing and loving and this and that, it's, while it bores the ever-loving fucking shit out of me, and while I will never forget the fact that he ate a goddamn scorpion on the first fucking episode.
Termites tonight.
And termites tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
His
If it's her-
adventurous, exotic eating repertoire is growing in leaps and bounds.
I think he's
Oh my
just like
God.
licking his
Maybe this is
fingers.
setting us up for when he wins, and then he uses his $1 million to go on like an African safari and like Asia to eat all those weird things.
I'd watch the shit out of that.
There,
Mike is the type of player that Jeff loves, so.
I mean,
Yeah.
for all
Yeah.
of Mike's, I don't know if downfalls is the right word. He is at least enthusiastic and is really embracing
Yeah.
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 He's an
like the
OTT.
Survivor part of Survivor.
He's
Which
not
is-
complete. Yeah. He's not Rodney and he's not Dan. So to that end,
And I would bet my money that he's a Dallas Cowboys fan. So
I would say so.
I don't know. He might be a Texans fan. I mean, he is
well, he's from North Richmond Hills,
general. I don't know.
which
my
is a
Texas
suburb
geography.
of Dallas. So
Dallas, yeah,
Is
I'm
it?
sure he's
Oh.
a Cowboys fan.
Well, who knows? Oh, I don't know. That's just that's depressing. Then that's really really fucking depressing. In that case, I changed my vote.
no changing.
Because if Jerry Jones is in any way influencing us, good God, you know it'll go wrong. You know it'll go wrong. That would explain why he ate a scorpion. I digress. He probably thought there was liquor in it.
So there's one thing I was wondering tonight. When I guess Tyler was talking about flipping and voting out Dan, we never saw him consult with Carolyn, and I kind of thought they were kind of like a duo or a pair.
Yeah. Well, he must have, since he voted the way she did.
I was going to say, I think if he seriously was considering the idea of flipping to them, he would have consulted Carolyn, and we would have been shown that. I think to the degree that we weren't necessarily shown that may have been a giveaway that he was not going that way.
That's how I saw it with the
Yeah.
edit. Was like, I don't think it's going to happen because we never saw them go off.
Because there was a big emphasis last week on how they were a pair and how they needed to stick with each other.
Right, but not let it be known. Is it known now? Or are all these people just not that bright?
Well, they would have
slowly
to
catching
be.
on.
I would think that they must be.
Because at one point they talked about how, when they were discussing about the white collar idol, they're like, yeah, Shireen definitely does not have it because this, and this. And someone was, I forget whose professional it was talking about how Tyler and Carolyn are very confident. Like, they were talking
Well,
about
Dan was the one who made that point.
They
Yeah.
should
Dan
have
was
said
the one that made
Joaquin
that
had it
point.
and got his ass voted out with it.
I mean, also think about it. Those two and Shireen are the only three left from the white collar tribe, and it stands to reason that someone from the white collar tribe would have bonded with someone else, and with Shireen, the obvious non-friend of anyone, it leaves Carolyn and Tyler to have befriended each other.
That's true. Does anyone have anything else they want to add about the season, about this episode, before we wrap it up?
I noticed Mike chews on straw during challenges
I noticed
today.
that as well.
I was going to say Haley's nice little analogy towards the colonists flipping on the British. That
Oh, I
was-
loved it.
I really wish I had used that in history class back in high school, but that was great.
And her face right after that at Jeff is going to make such a good gif.
She was just so excited. Oh,
She loves that Constitution.
God
that's
bless
true.
her.
That's one of her passions in life.
Number 3.
That's the thing that's weird is that she was a so-called no-caller, but she worships the Constitution.
Yeah, and she's like a God-fearing Southerner and Constitution. I don't know. It was interesting.
I don't know. I think they only mentioned callers once this episode. At least Jeff posted. But
I think
I hope that
something
dies.
about like taking the blues out or whatever.
I mean, it's the merge, so they have to emphasize
Yeah.
the merginess instead of the separation.
Yeah, but that just got old for me really quickly. All right. Anything else from y'all?
Are Joe and Jen dating?
I think they are.
Yeah,
I bet so.
I hope so.
I would like that.
That would break Colin's heart, so I hope it's not actually.
I would enjoy
Oh.
that.
Yeah, sorry, Colin.
They're adorable,
Yeah.
though.
Is Jen
They are.
quitting next week?
Oh, I hope not.
Fuck.
No.
Don't, Patrick. Don't
She
even.
did have that. She did have that winter coat. Turtles.
Oh, yeah, the turtles. Although it did pan to Shireen, right? I can't remember.
Shut the fuck up.
Usually when they talk about someone quitting in the next episode or whatever, they don't say who.
Yeah.
When someone actually does quit, so I think it's just some bullshit.
I mean, I don't. Part of me would like it if Jen pulled a total Janu and was just like, "Fuck you guys, I'm going home." But I love Jen, so I don't want that to happen.
But I think
That would
it's
really
Jen's
fuck my
personality
Survivor
just to
match.
complain about it, so I don't think that's taken. I just think it's taken out of context.
Yeah.
I
All
hope
right. So thank you all for listening. Thank you, panelists, for being on tonight, and hopefully we made Colin proud.
Hopefully.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.